Did you hear that? Okay, so thanks for coming this evening. I'm just going to start my presentation. So who are CashFlow Leasing? So most of you who are regulars know me quite well. So I'm Claire Saunders. I'm actually Claire Vince. I got married in November, but I've kept my name as Saunders on Facebook just because everyone knows me as Claire Saunders who does leasing. So it's just easier. Don't want to lose customers. That's myself. So I started CashFlow Leasing in June 2019. And the reason I did it is I used to work for another asset leasing company. So I did learn a lot about leasing, and I built a lot of relationships with lenders, suppliers and customers. But it wasn't my intention originally to start my own business. It was because of my mentor at the time. So I finished working, and I wanted to do, I'm really nervous this evening. I wanted to do sourcing, but it's not as easy as everyone makes out, sourcing. So I really struggled with it, and I was thinking, you know, how do I know if I'm giving a good deal and that sort of thing? So my mentor turned around and said to me, why don't you just do what you know? So that put me back to doing leasing. And because of the connections I had with lenders and things like that, they all took me on board really, really, really quickly. So that's how CashFlow Leasing was born. I have experience in property and have attended numerous trainings, buy-to-let, rent-to-rent, you name it, I've sat on the course. I enjoy helping people, and I love it when I get the difficult or complex deals over the line, because it means that I can use my creative thinking, which keeps us all sharp. So that's good. So again, creative thinking. So a lot of the my customers that come to me, they have got unique circumstances. It could be they've got credit issues. It could be that they've got weird business setups, that sort of thing. So because of the way the relationships I've got with my lenders, I can actually put cases together to try and get them either a better rate or actually get a deal across the line that wouldn't normally happen. I take time to get to know my customers, to understand them, their business, their projects. So even in difficult circumstances, like I said, I can get the deals across the line. Obviously, you know, not 100%. I would say out of every 10 cases, I would get at least 9 across the line. There's always that one that you just can't quite do right now. As well as finance, I've done a lot of customer service, even worked in a furniture shop, had my own bed shop called Emma Rose Furnishings after my daughter, which was part of my mother and father-in-law's business. So they used to deliver furniture for big companies like, I'm trying to think what they are now, like Sleep Easy, places like that. They actually did a lot of the travel lodge conversions as well, so where they're taking out new beds and putting new ones in. But they decided to shut down, so it all closed down. So that is me. So you're probably wondering, what is asset leasing? You know, what is she actually going to talk about tonight? So asset leasing is a way to acquire the items needed for your business without using your capital, without using your own cash. It enables to use your monthly cash flow to pay for the items over an agreed term, and it is tax efficient. So we'll have Shaz on later, so he can go through all the tax side of it with you. So that is a win-win. So what are the benefits? So one of the main benefits is that a lot of rent-to-rent customers that come to me obviously don't have the cash up front. So this is where leasing can help, you know, really well. So if you haven't got the money, it's not an issue. What we do is we can arrange the lease finance so that the supplier can be paid 3 days before delivery. So you don't have to pay anything. Sometimes you may have to pay your first month's premium up front, and there is an admin fee, which is about $150. Majority of them will take that 10 days after the supplier has been paid, but there are a few that ask for it up front. So they won't release the money till they've had it. So again, that's a win-win. If you haven't got the money, then we can look to arrange the finance for you. So basically, you know, if you're out there searching for properties, you're speaking to landlords, and as we all know, they all come along like buses. You get more than one at a time. You know, don't source them on. Speak to me, and we can look to arrange the finance for the furniture, which means you then keep your cash, like it says here, So you've got more money for the projects, more deposit money, that sort of thing. So even if you have got the cash, why use it when you can reinvest it in your business and grow quicker? Also, it's quite interesting, is you can release capital or cash from projects that you've carried out within the last 3 months. So if any of you have been doing put furniture into properties in the last 3 months, we can look to get the money back out. It does depend on the supplier, but it's worth a conversation. Another reason for doing it is that you can achieve a higher rental. So with leasing, you can choose items that you want based on the look that you're trying to achieve. So this is very, at the moment for like SAs and HMOs where you're trying to get the high end market, you know, it means it's going to cost you a lot of money. So therefore, why not lease it? It means you can get the look you want. And hopefully because you're going for high end, therefore you're going to get a higher rental income. So that is a win-win in my book. So it's also 100% tax efficient. So a lease allows you to claim every monthly payment as a revenue expense before your tax is calculated on profit. So you HMO landlords, if you purchase your items, you're unable to claim your initial purchase cost back. You can only claim replacements. However, if you lease it, my understanding is that you can claim your purchase cost back under your capital allowance. I think the only proviso is if you own the property. I have to double check that with Chaz later. Also with SAs, you can claim your purchase back as a capital allowance. However, the property needs to meet 3 occupancy conditions set out for holiday lets. I don't know what they are. It's all to do with how many days it's occupied and that sort of thing. If you don't hit those conditions, then it will revert back to a standard residential. So therefore you can't claim it back. And then, like I mentioned at the beginning, if you lease, you don't own the items during the finance term, your premium is classed as a monthly operating expense. Therefore, you can claim corporation tax relief, which is currently 19% on your premiums against any profit that you make. So that, to me, is a massive advantage. So what are the basic guidelines? So the main one is you must be a limited company. Your supplier or builder must be VAT registered and agree to work with us. We do have some approved suppliers, which I'll go into later, but if you have purchased through somebody else, it's worth having a conversation to see if we can work with them. There are others that I have worked with in the past that aren't on this list. Also, I work with a number of managing agents who supply furniture as well. So that is another avenue that you can go down. I work with both established and new businesses. Obviously, the rates will be higher for companies that are new, been trading less than 3 years. At least one of the directors must be a UK resident. And it was, when lockdown happened, at least one of the directors must be a homeowner. Now, if you're a non-homeowner, you can still get a lease, but we will need to have a third-party guarantor who is a homeowner to stand with you on the lease. A director of a new business or SPV can use evidence of their portfolio to achieve a better rate. So if you set up a new business just for this HMO you're doing or SA you're doing with someone, and you've got a portfolio of buy-to-lets, then we can use that to prove that you've got experience and try, I can't 100% guarantee, but we can try to get a better rate based on that. We can also do cross-company guarantees as well. Because it's a finance arrangement, there will be credit checks and personal guarantees as standard for directors, all directors. If you don't give the PGs, then they won't give you the lease. The minimum order value is 2,000 net. However, I do know that a lot of social housing customers that I work with, a lot of their orders are a lot less than 2,000. So what they do is they actually accumulate them. So they do 2 or 3 or 4 a month, and they put those on one lease, and therefore it goes over that threshold of 2,000 net. And like I mentioned before, we can set up a lease up to 3 months from the invoice date for items already delivered. If you have a VAT registered company, you can do what's called sale and leaseback. It's not favoured by lenders. There's a minimum order of 5,000, I think, and they only like to do 4 or 5 suppliers, so the likes of IKEA and things like that, which they will do, but they like to have big orders. So not like if you've gone to B&M and spent 30 quid on knickknacks, they don't like those ones. It's if you've gone to IKEA and spent a couple of £100 on things. Let someone in. Okay. So the assets are owned by the leasing company for the duration of the term. However, you are responsible for the items and therefore must have adequate contents insurance in place. That's standard. If you don't, then they will charge you an additional premium per month. Now, I've not put it in here, but I always get asked, and I'm sure one of you will ask the question, is what happens if the items get damaged? It is your responsibility for those items. If you've got a HMO and the tenant breaks it, then obviously you've got an AST in place to claim that back through their deposit. Also, any damages or replacements you can claim back under the replacement rule, but it is up to yourself to get things replaced and claim and get the money back. However, you know, ASTs, deposits, that sort of thing. Standard term is 3 years. However, you can do shorter, can do 1 year. If you've got a rent-to-rent contract and it's a 1 year rolling contract, we can still do 3 years. However, what we ask is at the end of the 1 year, you let us know what you're doing. So the options you've got is obviously it carries on, that's fine, you just carry on paying. If you or the landlord decide after a year it's not working, the options you've got is to move the items to another location and let us know where they're going to, or you can pay the remainder of the balance and sell the items on. But the best thing to do is just have a conversation when that comes up. So what happens at the end of term? So because you're unable to take ownership of the leased items, you've got a couple of options. So one is continued use, and that's where you pay an additional 2 months premium. That extends the lease for another 2 years. So you've got use of the items for 5 years. At the end of the 5 years, there's no intrinsic value left in the furniture or whatever they are. Therefore, you can dispose of it. So you can do what you want with it after those additional 2 years. Another option is you can nominate a third party. So as long as it's not a director of the company, you can nominate somebody. It could be a relative, could be a friend, anyone really. And you just pay 1% of the lease value. So one of my lenders, that's the only option that they give. And like I said, it's only 1%. So that's quite a cheaper option to come out at the end rather than the continued use. Also, if you're going to sell the items, again, that would be nominating a third party. So again, it's 1%. Another option that I'm looking to bring in is a recycle reuse option. So at the end of the 3 years or the 5, if you decide you want to get rid of the items and get new, then we'd like to put in place a recycle option. So we come and collect it. Obviously, don't know costs or anything yet. And those items either be recycled, or if they are still able to be used, they will be given back to the community less fortunate, that sort of thing. You can take ownership, but you would need to speak to your accountant, because basically the tax savings that you've had during the term, if you were to take ownership, you would have to pay that all back. And obviously that's the whole reason we're doing it, is to keep you tax efficient. So cost involved. So I don't charge anything. I get paid commission when the lease goes live. So that's when the supplier gets paid. Or if there's serial numbers on electrical goods that are needed, I don't get paid until we get those. So I annoy everyone by saying, when's delivery? Can I have the serial number? Otherwise I don't get paid. So I just annoy everyone. But there is an admin fee of £150 plus VAT, and this comes out with your first month's premium. The process itself can take a couple of weeks, although during lockdown it has taken about 3 weeks. So what we can do is we can do what's called a pre-auth. So if you know roughly how much you're going to need, we can apply for the lending in advance before you finalise your invoice. We can get an amount approved, and once you've got your invoice, it's just then paperwork. So it quickens it up in that way. You've got the pre-authority, you've got that, that amount guaranteed. So what can be leased? So the main items for your property. So any supplier that I work with will supply the majority of this stuff. So you've got furniture, white goods, electricals, soft furnishings and accessories, kitchen, bathroom, linen packs, and blinds. I won't go into this one because I didn't do that one. So what do I mean by kitchen pack? So they will supply everything from your kettle, toaster, right down to knife, forks, teaspoons, you know, that sort of thing. In the bathroom, they will do bins, toilet brushes, all of that, and linen packs. if that's something you're interested in, they can do that as well. So basically, if the supplier invoices it, we can cover it. And the most unique thing I've actually covered is a hot tub. So somebody wanted a £6,000 hot tub for their SA. And as long as it is for a holiday let and it's not personal use, you can actually lease a hot tub. So that was quite interesting. Another benefit of leasing is if you own the property, then you can look to lease some of the refurb items, but your builder must be VAT registered to do this because they will have to invoice. So things such as kitchens, bathrooms, boilers, fire doors, alarm systems, external doors and windows, they won't cover the cost of decorating or labour costs. They will just cover those items. So that is something that a lot of people don't realise that you can do. Okay. So what does it actually cost? So here are some case studies for people that I've done. These were during lockdown. So this is a rent-to-rent 7-bed HMO for social housing tenants, furniture only. They were homeowners and a new business. So they had a cash flow, so amount left after all their bills, of £1,300 a month. So like I said, new business, and they had just over £3,000 worth of furniture. So the lease gets set up, as you can see here, at the net amount. Okay, the supplier will still get paid gross, but your monthly premium will be plus VAT. So to borrow £3,150, it costs this gentleman a monthly premium of £126.65. The total cost over the 3 years of £4,559. So your total interest of 1,409. So I mentioned before, you get the corporation tax relief saving of 19%. So 19% comes off of this overall cost here. So that's 866. And then when you take the 866 off of the interest that you've paid, your net cost of finance or borrowing is £543. Divide that by the 3 years, it means it costs £181 plus VAT per year to borrow the 3,000 net for furnishing. So to me, even for a new company, that is still really cheap. This guy has come back to me 2 times since then. So I've done 3 leases with him. So you're obviously happy with myself and the service and what he's paying. So that's a little testimonial there. Quickly, another one. So 5-bed HMO professional tenants. So he had a cash flow of £1,000 a month. So that's the amount left after all the bills have been paid. So at the time, the current best rate you could get for an established business was 15%. However, now lockdown's over, they have actually brought back the 10.5%, which I'll show you on the next slide. And it is absolute buttons to do it if you've got a business that's been going for 3 years. Monthly premium to borrow £4,000 was £150 plus VAT. So total cost of borrowing was £5,400. Total interest £1,400. Corporation tax relief £1,032. So that's 19% of this amount. When you take that, this from that, the 1,000 from the 1,400, it gives you a net cost of finance of £393 plus VAT. That's for 3 years. So to borrow just over £4,000 worth of furniture, for the furniture, it's cost them £131 plus VAT per year. Again, nothing. So this is the gentleman here. He worked with Landlord Furniture Co., who I work a lot with, to be honest. Again, happy with my service. So this is the really exciting one. So this is one where I use my outside the box thinking and leverage to get a really good rate for these guys. It was pre-lockdown. So they had an 18-bed student accommodation. And they were high net worth individuals. So they had a lot of property and money between them. It was a new business. They set it up this as an SPV for this project, cash flowing £2,440 a month after bills. So they were a brand new company and they wanted to lease £14,000, and it was over 3 different suppliers over a 3-year term. So using their portfolio, I managed to get 10.5%, which is a tier 1, which is the best rate on the market. So to borrow the £14,000, it's cost them £500 a month plus VAT. over 3 years, so it's 18,000. So that's 4,000 interest that they're paying. Corporation tax relief was 3,462. So that's 19% of this 18,000. Net cost of finance. So the total interest minus the corporation tax relief is 733. So it means that it would cost them £244 plus VAT per year to borrow £14,000. So when you've got an established business, I don't know why people aren't doing this. It is absolute buttons. So like I said, these are the guys here. That's their finished property. And like I said, we managed to work with 3 suppliers. So how we do that is they all get paid on the same day. So some of, they said here, they paid 90% of the costs initially. So they paid some of the invoices or part of the invoices to guarantee delivery. The suppliers were all told that they had finance in place. Once everything had been delivered, the lease then went live and paid all 3 suppliers on the same day. And then whatever they were paid, the suppliers refunded back to them within normally 3 to 5 working days. So who are my suppliers? So we've got Landlord Furniture Co, Titus Interiors. I can send these out to everyone. Fusion Furniture, I'm sure you've all heard of them. We do work with interior designers. So you've got Why Not Interiors here, and also Changing Spaces there. So how interior designers work is they like to be paid in advance, and then they order the goods, and then in about 4 to 6 weeks time, they then deliver it. So the option you've got there is you either pay them up front yourself, and then we do the finance and get the money out retrospectively, or we can pay them up front. What you've got to remember is your first premium will come out within 10 days, and the second one will come out within a month. So you may end up paying 2 premiums before you've even received the goods. So it all depends on how, if you've got the money or not, or whether you want to do it each way. But I do a lot of work with Changing Spaces. You've got Sublime Furnishings, Loft Interiors. So I am one of their recommended partners. So they've only got 2 of us out of the whole of the leasing companies in the country, and I had to be interviewed in order to do it. And recently I've done a lot of work with them. They because their invoicing system is a nightmare, so I have to help them with it. You've got Landlord Furniture Solutions. She's a new lady on Facebook. Houses to Home Solutions. Again, a new guy. He's based in, I want to say, Somerset Way. So yeah, he's looking to build relationships with people that do a lot of properties, so that they can, you know, get a pack together and then roll it out that way. Furnish My Property. I'm hoping to get these guys on actually. They are Asset Academy students and mentors, and their whole story, the 2 of them, is just amazing. So I'm hoping to get them on in a couple of weeks. And then we've also got, this is for you social housing people out there, for Simon. So this is our Serco approved social housing supplier. So he can do a one-stop shop for everything you need for Serco. They carry a wide range of stock, so the lead times are really short. They deliver, install and assemble everything on site quickly, safely and efficiently. They will even plumb in your washing machine for you. And they will take the rubbish and packaging away. So an example of a 4-bed Serco property, with these guys, so you've got all of this stuff here, delivery, ensemble, and install and rubbish removed, £2,695 plus VAT. So he is very, very, very cheap. But that's for a 4-bed. I think for his 2-bed, it is under 2,000. So like I said, we'd have to put a few together in order to put them on a lease. I was hoping to get Sonny on. I don't know if he's on or not. But yeah, really good guy. Also a few other ones. So Restful Nights, Aspire Furnishings, Atlantic Office, if you want office furniture. We also work with AO.com, but they will only do pre-delivery, which means that we have to pay them in advance of any delivery date. So it's okay if you're doing all of, like I said, the suppliers have to be paid on the same day. So if you're doing it with AO and Landlord Furniture Co, they have to be paid at the same time. So it can be a bit tricky, but I've done 3 or 4 in the last couple of months with AO and another supplier. But like I said, I can work with any UK-based trade supplier. just speak to me and let me know. If you know of any suppliers that you think would want to partner with me, then obviously let me know that as well. Or if you are a supplier, then yeah, get in contact, because it is something worth offering to your customers as another way of making payment. So that is it. That's me done. Bored you enough. So, Alex, you got your hand up.
I was trying to do a round of applause. That's Claire.
Well done, Claire. That was great.
I'm just going to end the slide.
Claire, can I ask a question, please?
Let me just stop the recording.